Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. Think we're live. Yeah, we're live. We're live. We're using some new software today, so I'm just trying to make sure that everything is Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. So let me know. Make sure that you're letting me know if the video is coming through, the audio is coming through the way that it should be. I think everything should be good. Um, so let's hope for the best here as we are working on the fly here. Zaddy, boom. There we go. We got our first comment. Fire. Zaddy, everything looking good, sounding good. No different from yesterday. Hopefully everything's great with the stream. Let me know. As we work through the technical difficulties. Let's go ahead and start talking about today's NBA slate. Zaddy says, good. All right. Appreciate you, brother. I needed that feedback. Kyle Lowry under 14 and a half. Boy, you guys waste no time. You guys are getting right into it. I appreciate those questions. We're going to go through some of the... First, we're going to start things off like we did yesterday. We're going to look at the slate. We're going to look at some of the injuries and things like that. And then we will transition to what are some of the best looking trends according to props.cash. Of course, that's our player prop research tool of choice. So if you're not using props.cash yet, you can definitely go to props.cash and sign up, or there's a link to sign up. You can use my affiliate link. That helps me out, helps me as a content creator. So if you want to sign up, fantastic deal going on right now. $99.99, you get the full NBA season pass. Of course, NBA season just started, so you sign up. It's good throughout the entire NBA season. So we're going to be using that again today to help us, and we're going to look at some of the trends. We'll go through a few player props that look good to me according to what we find on props.cash. And then we'll take your questions and do some live player prop research. So let's start things off here. We got the Charlotte Hornets at the Orlando Magic. This game tips off at 7 p.m. tonight over on the East Coast where I'm at. No notable injuries for that one. Then we've got 7:30 p.m. Atlanta Hawks at New Orleans Pelicans. Not seeing any injury news there. Actually, let's click show injuries. That would probably help. Sorry about that. For the Hornets, Terry Rozier is a game time decision. PJ Washington is out. For the Orlando Magic, Michael Carter-Williams, Etuan Moore, Chuma Okeke, Markelle Fulton, Jonathan Isaac out. Long list of injuries for my Orlando Magic. Moving things down here, Atlanta at New Orleans. Lou Williams, game time decision. Danilo Gallinari, game time decision. Okongwu, if I'm saying that right, is out for New Orleans. Josh Hart is out. And Zion Williamson, apparently he's put on a few pounds. He's going to be out for the New Orleans Pelicans as he tries to get healthy and get in shape. Then we've got the Indiana Pacers at the Toronto Raptors, 7:30 p.m. tip-off time. Karis LeVert, game time decision for Indiana. We've got TJ Warren and Martin out for Indiana. Watanabe and Siakam out for the Toronto Raptors. Moving it down the line here, 7:30, Washington Wizards at Boston Celtics. NATO is a game time decision. Not real impactful injury news here. We got Bryant, Gill, Hachimura, Winston out, and then we've got Romeo Langford out for Boston. Miami at Brooklyn also tips off at 7:30. Victor Oladipo out for Miami. And of course, we know the situation with Kyrie Irving. No need to get into that, but he's going to be out, of course, for them. 8 o'clock, West Coast game, LA Lakers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. For LA, long list of names here to be looking out for. We got Frank Mason, Anthony Davis, Kendrick Nunn, LeBron James, Trevor Ariza, Tyler Horton Tucker, all on the injury report for LA. Derek Favors on the injury report for OKC. 8 p.m., Minnesota T-Wolves at the Milwaukee Bucks. We got Robin Lopez, Drew Holiday, and Dante DiVincenzo out for Milwaukee. No injuries for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Dario Saric, Cameron Payne out for Sacramento as they take on the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix, no notable injuries, so they should be full strength. Memphis Grizzlies at Portland Trailblazers. Dylan Brooks is out for Memphis. For the Portland side, Norman Powell and Tony Snell both on the injury report. So these are things to be looking out for as we get closer to lock, because those injuries, whether guys are in or out, could open up some value for us, right? So that's what we're looking for. Like Carmelo Anthony last night, whenever LeBron James was ruled out, I took his fantasy points over. Unfortunately, he did not deliver, but that would have been a prime spot, and I think it was the right play. It just didn't work out. We got Isaac Okoro. He is game time decision for Cleveland, and then a long list of injuries for the LA Clippers: Leonard, Preston, Johnson, Ibaka, and Morris. So that's going to do it for that. Let's start getting into props.cash, looking at some of the player props. We'll go category by category here: points, rebounds, assists, 3-point makes, and we'll try and identify some of the trends that are happening here. And once we sign in, the very first page you see here is the NBA player prop trends page on props.cash, and then you have this drop down here with a ton of different categories that you can look at. Of course, they just added a couple of new ones last night, but we won't get into all that right now. Let's look at the top of the list here, because there's a lot of guys here: Brandon Ingram, Harrison Barnes, Michael Bridges, Desmond Bane, and Ja Morant all have a 100% hit rate on their points props today. Appreciate you guys filling in to the chat. Keep them questions coming. And yes, Keegan, thank you for mentioning that. If you're watching this stream, please leave a like on it. Yesterday's stream, we got like 91, 92 likes. Can we go for 100? Can we go for 100? I mean, that would be a lofty goal. It would be amazing, though. I think that would be the most likes I've ever gotten on any video or any stream. So like this video if it brings you any value, if it helps save you time, research throughout your NBA player prop day. I appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed yet, of course, subscribe. Turn notifications on. When I go live, I don't want you guys to miss out. But of course, there's always the replay option if you do miss the live stream. Let's kick it off with Brandon Ingram, because this dude's been red hot. Since Zion Williamson has pretty much been out for the year, Brandon Ingram's been a guy that I've been looking at a lot lately. He's been crushing his player props. They're taking on the Atlanta Hawks, as we mentioned earlier. 23.5 points on PrizePicks. We see him at 24.5 here on props.cash. So the way that you do this on props.cash, you start here at the top with the filters. So we're going to look at points. Then we're going to shift this to the Atlanta Hawks at New Orleans Pelicans and click Brandon Ingram's name. And when we do that, we've got 4 game logs here for BI. Look at these game logs, my friends. Look at these game logs. Let's look at the last 5 to make it a little easier on your eyes. 4 games, right? And he's hit this point prop in every single game. I think PrizePicks might be a little underweight here on this point prop for Brandon Ingram. 25 points, 26 points, 30 points, and 27 points, going for more than 23.5 points in 4 straight games. What is there not to love? What am I missing here? When we move his little line down from 24.5 to 23.5, like he is on PrizePicks, you can see things brighten up here in terms of turning more green. His last 5 games, which includes 1 game from last season, so you can kind of throw that one out, but 24.2 points per game here for Brandon Ingram. Now, we could go back to last season and see if there's any previous matchups against Atlanta. Doesn't look like there is, unfortunately, so we're just going to stick to what we've got to go off of for this season. But so far, 4 for 4 in covering today's point prop. Let's scroll down and look at the defensive matchup. Thanks to props.cash, we can look at how Atlanta's defense stacks up against Brandon Ingram. Their overall defensive rating, not good whatsoever. You see they rank 21st, and it's highlighted green. Green means good on props.cash. Red means bad. Yellow means average, neutral. So you can see that this is a plus matchup here for Brandon Ingram in terms of the Atlanta Hawks and their defense. They're not very good defensively, but where they are good defensively is against the small forward position. They do rank 5th in the NBA currently. So something to kind of keep in mind. In terms of minutes so far this season, seeing a full healthy complement of minutes: 36, 34, 40, 36. Of course, minutes are important because if a guy's not out on the court, he cannot get you fantasy points. He cannot get you real life points. He cannot get you single stats. So we need him to play, and he's playing. So that's a good sign. Moving it down here, you could see 26 field goal attempts, 20 field goal attempts, 23 field goal attempts, and 21 field goal attempts. So he's shooting the ball a lot. He is their primary offensive weapon, and I expect him to continue to shoot at 20 or more field goal attempts in this one. And to cap things off here, you can see his 3-point attempts are up in his last 2 games, attempting 7 and 7. So if it's going to keep going like this for Brandon Ingram and they're going to have him at 23.5 points, my God, how do we not lock the over in? I'm just saying. It's looking good. So to cap this off, let's look at a projection. We've got Number Fire pulled up. They offer free projections across the board. Let's go ahead and type in Brandon Ingram's name here. 21 projected points. Now, if you've been keeping up with these videos, these live streams, the last 3 days now, Numberfire has taken a more conservative approach, it seems like, with their projections. Every single projection just about has always been under where they're at on PrizePicks. But I think there's a good case here with Brandon Ingram being at 24.5 points on some of the other sports books. He's only at 23.5. Seems like we're getting a little bit of a value. Seems like we're getting a little bit of a deal here. I'd be clicking the over personally. That's just the way I'm leaning on Brandon Ingram. But definitely do more research if you feel some other type of way about it. So let's move it from Brandon Ingram and talk about another guy who's been hitting his points prop with great regularity and is having a fantastic start to the season. Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant has been on a pretty good tear here lately. So let's go find him on the PrizePicks board, assuming that he is up here. And I don't see him at the moment, which would be kind of strange because maybe it's injury news related, but actually, Ja Morant's not up on the PrizePicks board. Don't see him. Okay, well, we're not going to be able to talk Ja Morant then. Who do we have out there then? Michael Bridges, 100% hit rate. Do we want to talk Bridges? Nah, I'm not seeing Michael Bridges. Harrison Barnes. Come on, PrizePicks. Let's get these props up here. I know there's injury news and stuff, but, hook us up. We're trying to get some picks in. I'm not seeing any of these guys. They're not putting any of these props up. Let's talk about Miles Bridges then. Shoot. He's at 19.5. He's not a 100% hitter, but he's a 75% hitter, and that's pretty darn good too, right? So let's go talk Miles Bridges. I try to give you 2 props from each category. PrizePicks, they must be asleep still, but we're not. We're up. We're at it, and we're trying to look for some good plays for you guys. So here we go. Miles Bridges. Woo! Now this is a good one. This is catching my eye right off rip. And the reason is, in 4 games, he's covered 3 out of 4. Look at the last 3 games, though, specifically. 30 points, 32 points, and 25 points against Cleveland, Brooklyn, and Boston, respectively. Some tough teams in there, Brooklyn and Boston specifically. But as you can see, he's taking on the Orlando Magic tonight. I'm an Orlando Magic fan. I will tell you, we're not the best team defensively. So this could be another great matchup here in a situation where Miles Bridges could absolutely cover his player prop. Now, this is last season, 2 games against the Orlando Magic back in January earlier this year. 18 points and 10 points. That was last season. As you can see, he's taken on a different role currently. A role that is leading him to big scoring output. So I'm not afraid of this prop whatsoever. Now, I mentioned Orlando not being very good defensively. Here's the numbers to back that up. Overall defensive rating, just 26th. In terms of 3-pointers allowed, 25th. Field goals allowed, 22nd. And against small forwards like Miles Bridges, 29th. So this looks like a pretty damn good spot here for Miles Bridges to go over 19.5 points. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in the live stream. Drop a like. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It'd be amazing. I'm going to set I mentioned the like goal earlier of 100 likes. If we could somehow get to 1,900 subscribers today, we just went over 1,800 yesterday. If we could somehow get over 1,900 subscribers today, whoo, that would be really doing something. Now, looking at his minutes, 33, 34, 35, 38, they're trending upwards. He's getting more minutes, more opportunities to score more points. So things are looking good here for Miles Bridges. And his field goal attempts, that first game of the season, they were pretty low. But man, has he taken on a different role here. 24 attempts, 16 attempts, and 22 attempts. Dude's been shooting the basketball a lot lately, and you can see his 3-point attempts, 9, 5, 10. So pretty healthy in terms of putting up shots, putting up points. So Miles Bridges is another one to keep an eye out on if you're looking to take some overs on points props. Now let's go ahead and find him here on Numberfire. They got him projected. Once again, they're taking a conservative approach here. 17.4 points, putting him under 19.5. So yeah, they keep doing this for whatever reason, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave a comment about Miles Bridges. Do you think he goes over again tonight against a soft Orlando Magic defensive matchup? What are you guys thinking about these props, these trends we're finding? We got Brandon Ingram points so far. We got Miles Bridges points so far, and I think they're both strong candidates to go over based on what I'm seeing here. All right, we talked points. Let's move to assists, and we're going to look at some of the high high conversion rate assist guys. Now, it's funny because two of the ones that are on the list here are both big men. We've got Jonas Valanciunas. He's covered this 1.5 assist prop in every game so far this season, a 100% hit rate. Steven Adams, another guy, 100%. I'm going to kind of avoid talking about big guy centers and their assist props. That's kind of like, is this guy going to catch a touchdown or not tonight? So let's go to a guy that is just known over the course of his career for assists, and that would be Chris Paul. Chris Paul currently not on the board, but man, I'd be surprised if they don't put him up on the board. So let's go ahead and just talk about him. He's not on PrizePicks yet. I think he will be at some point. But it is a big slate, and so they're probably just slowly trickling these guys out. But when they do put him up on the board, he will be definitely worth talking about with a 100% cover rate so far on his assist prop this season. So if we look at the first 3 games, he's got 10 assists against Denver, 14 against the Lakers, and 11 against Portland. So he's 3 for 3 so far at covering 9.5 assists. These are the types of trends that we look for, that we drool over, right? So in his last 5 games, this accounts for 2 games that happened, obviously, in the NBA Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. He's averaging 10.2 assists per game in his last 5. But we can look at last season's matchup against the Sacramento Kings. Of course, Sacramento known to be more of an up-tempo team, a fast-paced team getting up and down the floor. So I expect plenty of opportunities for assists and shots and all that stuff. So 12 against Sacramento back on December 26th, another 12-piece on the 27th, and a back-to-back against Sacramento. And then back in April, he drops 11 assists against Sacramento. So he averaged in 3 games 11.7 assists per game, puts him well over the 9.5 that hopefully we see him at over on PrizePicks. So going back to the last 5 view, we can look at the defensive rankings for Sacramento. They rank 30th. They're dead last in the league. Not a very good defensive team. Not a very good team overall, of course. They rank 18th in assists allowed, so not very stingy in terms of assists allowed, and not very good at point guard defense. They rank 23rd in that metric. Chris Paul, his minutes, not looking very good, but I think this is because Portland blows a lot of teams out. They're very good, or Phoenix blows a lot of teams out. 33 minutes, 29 minutes, 25 minutes, kind of going down, going in the wrong direction on a decline. But I'm not too worried here about Chris Paul. If this game stays close, competitive long enough, Chris Paul's going to get his like most superstars do. So what's another assist prop that we could look at is Darius Garland at 5.5 on the board. Let's go see if he's up on the board on PrizePicks. He's not. Right now, PrizePicks doesn't have a whole lot of player props up, to be honest with you guys. It looks like it's just really like a handful of games, early games. So kind of a stinker board so far for PrizePicks. But I have faith that more will come. Let's look at Jayson Tatum. He's at 4 on PrizePicks, but at 3.5 on props.cash, and at 3.5 he's covered this player prop 75% of the time. So let's dig into some Jayson Tatum real quick, and then we'll move on to the next category. Hopefully we can find more props over here on PrizePicks. They are a little slow to get things going. I think they're going to add some later on in the day. But all right, so far through 4 games this regular season, he drops 4 assists, goes under here with just 2 against Houston, comes back strong against Charlotte with 8. So technically, in terms of hitting 4 assists or more, he's actually 3 for 4. So that's like a 75% hit rate. Not bad at all. Against Washington last year, which is tonight's opponent, 2 assists, 4 assists, 3 assists, 4 assists. So you don't really typically think of Jayson Tatum as the main setup guy, the main assist guy for the Boston Celtics, but he does get a handful of assists, as you can see from his game logs. So, although he has hit 4 or more assists in 3 out of 4 games, do I love it? Don't really love it. Going down here, looking at Washington in terms of defense, 19th overall defensive rating, 12th in terms of assists allowed. So you kind of get an idea of how Washington is not very good. They're just kind of an average, middle of the pack team. Let's look and see if we can find a projection here for Tatum and his assist prop. His assists tonight, 3.9. So they are slightly under this 4 assist prop. If it were me, I'd probably take the over here and hope that it at least push. Maybe we can get him to go over. This game's going to have to stay close, competitive, and it can't blow out. That's kind of one of the key things that I look for when I take a superstar and any over, like a guy like Jayson Tatum. Anthony Blocker, what's up, bro? What's happening, chat? Appreciate you guys. Those of you who are just entering the chat, if you could leave a like on this video, make sure that you're subscribed, and you might want to hit the bell and make sure that notifications are turned on, because if notifications aren't turned on, you can miss these videos, you can miss these streams, and who would want that? That's just terrible. That's a terrible way to start your day. We're trying to give you a good way to start your day. All right, we've talked points, we've talked assists. Let's talk some boards. And let's look at the guys who have a high hit rate, and that we can also find on the PrizePicks board. PrizePicks with a limited number of NBA props so far. A little bit more, though, in terms of rebounds, it looks like. Do we have Richaun Holmes? Richaun Holmes is at 8.5 rebounds over on props.cash with a 100% hit rate. But, you know, that being a later game, I don't see it up on the board. I don't see Richaun Holmes, but he's probably one to keep an eye out on. Let's see if we can find somebody who is up on the board. Back to Brandon Ingram. We could go back to Brandon Ingram at 5.5 rebounds. He has been covering this 100% of the time. I mentioned earlier when we talked about Brandon Ingram's points as a good place to go over, that Brandon Ingram has had a great start to the season so far. He is also doing a good job rebounding the basketball. So let's look at some boards here for Brandon Ingram. We're going to give you two different ways that you could play Brandon Ingram. Maybe you don't like his points prop as much as you like his rebounds prop. You can do one or the other, or you could do both. Make two separate entries. What the hey? Have some fun with it. All right, so we're going to look at rebounds. We're going to make sure the line is at 5.5, which it is here on props.cash. And look what my man BI has been doing. 7 boards against Philly, 8 against Chicago, 6 against Minnesota, and a back-to-back against Minnesota. He comes back with 9 boards, a season high for Brandon Ingram. So he's covered 5.5 rebounds in 4 straight games. So if you don't like Brandon Ingram's points, maybe you like his rebounds. He's averaging 6.6 boards per game in his last 5. If we go back and look at any matchups against Atlanta from last season, we have nothing, nada. So we can move on down here, see how Atlanta does defensively. They're 21st overall in terms of defense. They're allowing just the 8th most rebounds per game to opposing players. So they're kind of stingy. They're kind of tough on the glass. Of course, you got Capella, John Collins, right? Two very athletic, long, rangy, big guys. So do they keep Brandon Ingram off the glass? I don't know. Offensive rebounds, not so good. They rank just 21st. So they're allowing a lot of offensive rebounds, but they're not allowing a ton of defensive rebounds. So just something to kind of consider with Brandon Ingram. Let's see if we can find a projection here for BI's rebounds tonight. My gut tells me that they will probably be under on his rebounds, like they are on just about every single stat that we've looked at. So 4.9 rebounds is the projected number for Brandon Ingram, putting him really close to 5. Let's just round it up, call it 5 boards. So they expect him to be slightly under where he's at on PrizePicks. But we've looked at the data, we've looked at the game logs, and we can feel pretty comfortable clicking the over, I think, on this 5.5 board prop. So with that one out of the way, let's look and see if we've got any other rebound props that are standing out. We got Anthony Edwards, who's covered 100% of the time. Kyle Kuzma has covered 100% of the time. You know, that's a guy that we don't really ever talk about. Let's give Kyle Kuzma a look here. Washington Wizards now, obviously no longer a Laker. Kyle Kuzma at 7.5 boards. Let's find him here on props.cash and see just how well he's covered 7.5 rebounds. Is he barely covering it? Is he soaring over 7.5 boards? Oh my goodness. Ooh. What do you guys think, chat? What do you guys think, chat? I mean, geez, this dude turned into Dennis Rodman. Just a little switch from the Lakers to the Wizards. 15 boards against Toronto in the opening game, 11 against Indiana, and 13 against Brooklyn. This dude's not only covering 7.5 boards, he's crushing 7.5 boards. Why on earth is he not at like 8.5, 9.5 maybe rebounds? This is nuts. 15, 11, and 13. I mean, whew. Those are strong numbers. He's boarding for sure right now. Against Boston last year as a member of the Lakers, 6 rebounds, 2 rebounds. Not great, but you know, different situation, whole different dynamic here. As a part of Washington, he is playing a bigger role. If we scroll down here, you can see how the Celtics do in terms of rebounds allowed. They rank 6th in boards allowed, 7th in offensive boards allowed, and 7th in defensive boards allowed. So kind of weird that they could rank 7th in offensive boards, 7th in defensive boards, but overall they're 6th. Why wouldn't they be 7th? 7 and 7. Anyway, He's getting a good run of minutes here, 34, 38, 26 against Brooklyn. We'd like to see more minutes there, but so far, man, he is crushing this rebound prop. Let's go find his projected rebounds here on Number Fire. And they've got him at 7.9 rebounds. So for once, Number Fire actually likes the over on a player's prop. So they got him really, really close to 8 rebounds, which is all we need from him, 8 or more to cover this prop. Kyle Kuzma's opening my eyes this morning, folks. This rebound prop is looking like a real sneaky good one. All right. So that's it for rebounds. We're going to talk 3-point makes. Then we're going to start taking some of the questions from chat. Appreciate you guys in chat. Definitely like this stream if it's helping you out. Share it with a friend, family member, somebody you know who's into prop picks or prize picks. This is the perfect stream for them. I'm doing all the work for you. All the heavy lifting is being done by me for you. So I hope you guys appreciate this and drop likes and everything else. All those things help me out big time. Now, one guy that's been crushing his 3-point prop is Anthony Edwards, but as you can see, he's not on the PrizePicks board. Kind of the theme of this video. They're not putting a ton of props out just yet on PrizePicks, but keep an eye on Anthony Edwards. If he's added to the board later on, which I expect him to be on the board, he's just not up there yet. Definitely go and look into some Ant Edwards because I think that's a good way to go. CJ McCollum, also a 100% cover rate in terms of his 3-point prop at 3.5 3-point makes. He's covered it in every single game, but another situation where he's not up on the PrizePicks board, but that's going to be one that you definitely want to consider later on when he is added. DeAnthony Melton, is he up on the board? Because he's also at a 100% cover rate. He's not. Like, they don't have anybody up on the board, man. What's happening here? Brandon Ingram, though, is on the board. Do we just want to take Brandon Ingram and everything tonight? Maybe his fantasy points are a good way to go. Maybe his fantasy points are a little bit too low. I don't know. Points are looking good for an over. Rebounds are looking good for an over. And maybe he hits a couple of threes tonight. Do we have anyone here on the board that we could talk about? Kyle Kuzma's up there at 66.7% hit rate. Colin Sexton. Not seeing Colin Sexton on the board either. I mean, geez, where are all the player props? Where are they at? All right, screw it. PrizePicks, we're done. Let's take some questions from the chat. PrizePicks has to update their board. Let's scroll up. Let's take a look at some of the submissions that you guys have dropped in here. All right, Kyle Lowry, 14.5 points. Is that what we're talking about? I think we're talking about Kyle Lowry, 14.5 points. Let's go find him. Miami, obviously, Kyle Lowry. And so far this season, we've got his points loaded in here, right? It's not looking good. 2 games, 5 against Milwaukee and 9 against Orlando. Well, my big head's in the way, but you can see what I'm saying. 5 against Milwaukee, 9 against Orlando for Kyle Lowry. There you go. That helps you out. So the under would definitely be a good way to go from what I'm seeing. Let's scroll down a little bit here. You could get a look at his minutes. They're all over the place so far. 24.5 all the way up to 31.2, but not getting a ton of minutes here so far for Miami. Can't be scoring points if you're not out on the floor, and so far he hasn't really been out there a whole lot. If we look at his matchup against Milwaukee and against Orlando, he had 8 field goal attempts, converting on just 1. That was a 13% field goal percentage. And then he went 4 for 11 against Orlando with a 36% field goal percentage. So not looking great here for Mr. Kyle Lowry. So you might be onto something in terms of taking the under on his points. Attempted 6 threes against Milwaukee, 6 against Orlando, only made 1, 17% in both of those games. So Lowry's struggling. He's not really getting to the line a whole lot either. Just 2 free throw attempts in 2 total games so far this season. So, James, I think Kyle Lowry under 14.5 points is a great way to go. Ruru Diggs says, yo, thanks for helping me come up yesterday. You are welcome. And if you want to give back to me, Super Chat's available. You can always use Super Chat here when I go live on these streams. If you want to be a part of a group where we're all talking prize picks, not just NBA, NFL, but we're also doing CSGO, all the other esports, NHL, you name it. You can support me on Patreon. I'm on Patreon. You can join for just $20 a month. I help create useful, helpful spreadsheets. Give those out to you each night exclusively to patrons. We have a patron-only Discord group. You can join that as well if you ever feel like you want to give back or say thank you to me. That is the best way you could do it, is through Patreon, and you'll be a part of a kick-ass community as well. So appreciate that, Ruru. I'm glad I could help you win. New York Warrior 5 says, good afternoon, bro. Best early pick so far. Well, Brandon Ingram's looking pretty darn good so far. We talked about Brandon Ingram's points. We talked about Brandon Ingram's rebounds. I'm sure you were probably here for that. Court Max says Jimmy Butler over. Jimmy Butler over what exactly though, Court? You gotta let me know. You gotta be more specific. Are we talking about fantasy points, real life points? Are we talking rebounds, assists? I mean, you know, we could go a lot of different ways with Jimmy buckets. Antoine says, I missed the opportunity for $200 by 2.5 points by Luka. Yeah, I know they were running like a Luka promo on PrizePicks, like a Luka Steph Curry promo. And, you know, with the game being a blowout type of situation, setting up for a blowout, huge spread. I mean, Dallas was a monster favorite last night against Houston. I wasn't really loving the overs on any of the superstars like Luka Doncic. So I'm sorry you missed out on that, but hey, new day, new money, right? New opportunity for you to get that $200, hopefully tonight. Keegan says, like the video if you're watching. Yes, please like. We appreciate all the likes around here. And Durant says, you was right about Westbrook rebounds. I should have listened. Oh, assists, not rebounds. Okay, I got you. Well, I'm sorry that it didn't work out for you, but I'm also kind of like, cool, I was right. But, you know, if it doesn't equal more money in your pocket, then what does it matter, you know? Gordon Hayward, over 17.5 points. Thank you for dropping that in the chat, Remy. Let's take a look for Remy. Pew, pew. Gordon Hayward over 17.5 points. Let's dig into it. It's been the Miles Bridges show so far in the last 3 games for the Charlotte Hornets, but maybe we're onto something here with Gordon Hayward. Let's go back up. We've got the points category selected here on props.cash, and you are liking, well, you're not really saying over or under. I guess you're looking at hopefully going under on Gordon Hayward, because at 18.5 points, he's only covered this prop in 1 game this season. That was back in game 1 of the regular season against Indiana, drops 27 points. So if you're looking at going anyway on Gordon Hayward and his prop, I would be looking at doing maybe the under here. This is a 5-game view. Let you see that a little bit more easily. He hasn't been scoring the ball very well, and he is a minus 122 at the time of this live stream to go under, according to, you know, the sportsbook numbers that are out there. Orlando's defense, though, is bad. As we mentioned earlier, they rank just 26th in overall defense, 20th in points allowed. Field goals allowed 22nd, 3 points allowed 25th, and just 29th in the small forward defense. So somebody's going to eat tonight against Orlando. Is it going to be Miles Bridges? Is that trend going to continue? Or is Gordon Hayward going to snap out of his funk and break out here and get back over the 18.5 point mark? That is the question. He's getting plenty of minutes, 34, 32, 37, 35. His field goal attempts are down, though, in his last 3 games. He came out guns blazing with 22 field goal attempts, drops down to 12, 11, and 12 in his last 3 games. So, yeah, that's kind of been the trend. Miles Bridges is trending up, Gordon Hayward trending down. So you could be onto something with Gordon Hayward going under on his points. Antoine says, how do they base stats for a player? I'm not sure what you're asking with that question. Are you referring to PrizePicks? How does PrizePicks base their stats? I'm not quite sure what goes into their lines and how they make their lines, but Kevin Durant for over 4.5 assists. Yeah, we could look at that. Let's look at KD. We haven't talked any Kevin Durant or Brooklyn Nets, so let's go ahead and do it now for you. Kevin Durant at 4.5 assists. Got to click the assist prop. So far, he has not done a great job on 4.5 assists. He has been going under, actually, more than going over. He's got 1 big game where he drops 12 dimes against Philadelphia. Otherwise, he's an under machine, 3 out of 4 unders. That means he has just covered this prop in 1 game, 25%. hit rate so far. Now they've got him as a minus 128 on some of the books out there to go over 4.5 assists. So take that for what you will. Just because the money's coming in one way or the other doesn't always mean that it's right. Hopefully it's sharp money coming in and not, dull money, dumb money, donkey money. But yeah, so far they're liking him to go over at a minus 128 according to the various sports books. Against Miami last year, in 3 games, he had 4 assists, 5 assists, and no assist, assuming he played in this game. So that would be just a 1 out of 3 cover rate on 4.5 dimes. And then we scroll down and we could see that in terms of assists allowed, Miami does rank 23rd in assists allowed to the opposition. So that is a pretty good thing working in Kevin Durant's favor if you're liking the over on Kevin Durant's assist prop today. Ja Morant, Moises says Miles Bridges. Yep, we talked a lot about Miles Bridges. He's been on a heater in the last 3 games. Ja Morant at 41.5 fantasy points, the easiest lock ever per Zach. Zach, you might be right. Ja Morant's been balling lately. That could be a good way to go. Kevin Durant at 7.5 boards. Sure, why not? We've already got Kevin Durant pulled up here. That'll be an easy one to look at. In his 4 games that he's played so far this season, he's 3 for 4 in covering this prop. So that's a 75% hit rate. Sorry, I was thrown off by this 80%. Overall, in his last 5 games, it's an 80% hit rate. But in the first 4 games of this season, he's covered 75%. Right now, he is a minus 114 to go over 7.5 boards. And against Miami last season, it was last season, so don't, take this with a grain of salt. 4 boards, 13 boards, and then just 1 board against Miami in that one. So not very good last year against Miami, but this is a new season. Overall, you can see Miami, tough defensive team. They're tough against the opponents and the rebounds. They rank 10th. Offensive rebounds, they rank 8th. Defensive rebounds allowed 11th. So this could be a tough one for Kevin Durant to cover. But he has done a great job against some pretty tough teams already in terms of rebounding the basketball. 11 against Milwaukee, 15 against Philly. So those are some of the tougher teams in the league. If he can do it against them, he can definitely very well do it against Miami. So that could be a good way to go. The over on Kevin Durant's 7.5 boards. Robert Williams, the Time Lord. Robert Williams is at 9.5 points. 9.5 points. He's talking about going under on Robert Williams at 9.5 points. We could look at Robert Williams. I don't typically go to any overs on points props like that. It doesn't look like Robert Williams is actually up on props.cash. Can't really dig into that one for you. But yeah, I mean, I go under on, role players like that. Typically, it's going to be the Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum show, Marcus Smart, etc. So Bam Adebayo, 16.5 points. Moises, let's look at that one for you. You're liking the over on Bam Bam. Let's see if that's a good way to go here. Miami versus Brooklyn tonight. Bam Adebayo, 17.5 on props.cash. Moises says he's at 16.5 on PrizePicks. I closed the PrizePicks window out. We're still talking PrizePicks, but listen, they didn't have any props up. I mean, everything that we wanted to look at, it's like you go to your favorite store and the shelves are empty. You know what I'm saying? So this information will still help you whether you play on PrizePicks or somewhere else. If you play somewhere else and you don't play on PrizePicks yet, promo code Curry gets you a 100% instant deposit match. They're doing a dollar for dollar double your money deal right now over on PrizePicks. If you use my promo code, you'll get that 100% instant deposit match. But so far on Bam Adebayo, 3 games in the game logs, 20 points, 17 points, and 16 points, with his line set at 16.5. So he's covered in 2 out of 3 games. That's a 66.6 continued, or 67% if we want to round that up, hit rate so far. Currently, in terms of the action, he's a minus 116 to go under. That's where most of the money seems to be coming in. But against Brooklyn, everything is pretty much green here in terms of this matchup against Bam Bam, or for Bam Bam against Brooklyn. Their overall defensive rating just 22nd, 21st in points allowed, 20th in field goals allowed, 22nd in three-pointers allowed, and power forward defense, the one that probably impacts Bam Adebayo the most. They rank just 27th in the paint defense. They rank just 27th. So soft matchup here for Bam Adebayo. he could definitely go over 16.5 points based on what I'm seeing so far. His minutes kind of all over the place, 23 all the way up to 39, back down to 29 in his first 3 games. Field goal attempts, kind of a similar trend, up to 13, all the way up to 15, and then drops all the way back down to 9. That could have been a blowout situation. Knowing my Orlando Magic, could have just been one of those ones where he blew the Magic out. But Bam Adebayo could be a good spot to go over with this soft matchup that we're seeing. What about James Harden over on assists, says Antoine. Antoine, let's take a look at James Harden while we've got the Brooklyn Nets pulled up here. You want to look at the assists. Let's see if they've got Harden assists up. They do. They got him at 8.5 assists currently. Ooh. Well, I'm seeing a lot of red here so far. We got 4 games in the game log for James Harden. 8, 8, 8, and 9. And if he's at 8.5, I mean, this could go either way based on what we're seeing, right? This could be one of those props where it could break in your favor or go against you. It's a little too close for comfort. He's not absolutely smashing 8.5 assists in terms of going over, and he's not going way under 8.5 assists either. So this one for me, probably at first glance here, a little too close to call. So I'm going to probably stay away from it and avoid this player prop. I think there's places we can go where there's maybe a greater edge, more value to be had on a player prop than this one. So Devontae Graham over. What do I think about Devontae Graham over? I don't know. I need more information from you. Is Devontae Graham going to go over points, fantasy points, 3-point makes? Like, we know he's a shooter. I mean, that could be a good way to go. You got to let me know, though. You got to be more specific if you're dropping these plays in chat. I will look them up for you all day long till I'm blue in the face, but I got to know which player prop you're speaking about specifically. What else we got? Durant, Harden over on points. Well, sure, let's take a look. We've got Harden already pulled up here. Let's look at his points prop. I'm not sure where it's going to be at on PrizePicks. As I mentioned earlier, close PrizePicks down because there's just not enough props up right now. For whatever reason, they're a little slow today uploading player props. But as you can see in the last 4 games, he has went over his line of 19.5. So if that's where he's at on PrizePicks today, then you got an over and over and then 2 unders. So started off going over in the first 2 games and then goes under in the next 2 games. This is another one like James Harden. I don't know if I want to mess with it, man. We know he's a superstar. Like 18.5 sounds great, sounds soft, but or 19.5 sounds great, sounds soft. And we know he could go over that, but like we have a tale of 2 tales here. I mean, we got 20-20 and then we got 15-14. So I'm just probably going to avoid James Harden overall. Points, assists, likewise. What else do we got? Robert Williams over 8.5 rebounds against Washington. Let's take a look at Robert Williams against Washington. I didn't, find anything on his points prop, but maybe they've got him up for rebounds. They don't. For whatever reason, Robert Williams is not up on props.cash at the moment for anything, for rebounds or anything. So we can't look at any Robert Williams props, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Zach says, Ja Morant and Domantas Sabonis fantasy points are a lock. Okay, that would be one to look into. We don't really talk too much about fantasy points on this particular stream, but let's go ahead and see where these guys are lining up here according to our folks here at Numberfire. So he mentioned Ja Morant. We can do a quick little search. If you're on a PC or a Mac, Control F or Command F on any website brings up this search function in case you're wondering how I'm doing this. He's at 38.8 fantasy points. Not sure where he's at on PrizePicks, but in case you're wondering, PrizePicks uses FanDuel's projections in terms of fantasy points. So they use the same scoring system. So if you're looking at projections out on one of these sites, use FanDuel's projections. Make sure you're not using DraftKings. And Ja Morant at 38.8. So if you round that up, that's going to be a 39 for Ja Morant. That kind of gives you an idea. And then you talked about Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis at 43.8. If we round up, call it 44 fantasy points. Again, not sure where he's at on PrizePicks, but that could be a potential play. So PrizePicks just kind of frustrated me. I closed the site down. They just didn't have any props for us to look at. Check Bam Adebayo points. We did that for you, Moises. Hopefully that helped you out. Jaylen Brown assists. Okay, Jaylen Brown assists it is. Let's go look at some Jaylen Brown assists. So we've got Washington at Boston already loaded here. Total rebounds, we're going to switch that up to assists. And then we're going to go find Jaylen Brown. So he's at 2.5 assists here on props.cash. 6 dimes in his first game. I think he missed this game in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. And then 3 against Charlotte. So kind of gives you an idea. He's went over 2.5 assists in 2 out of 3 games. PrizePicks props are up. Let's go see. Maybe they're finally uploading it. Maybe they're tuning into the stream and they're like, man, we gotta get this guy some props to talk about on his live stream. I mean, they're up. They just don't have all that much. They don't have any of the late games up, I think, is kind of what I was more so talking about. Let's do this. Boom. We'll bring PrizePicks back up for you. What else we got? KD rebounds, please. We looked at KD rebounds. KD's rebounds looked pretty good. He's been getting it done against some tough opponents so far this season. So I think Kevin Durant rebounds, a good way to go. Travis says Luka, Steph, both unders hit yesterday. Yeah, I mean, you look at the way that game was setting up in terms of the point spread from the two teams. It looked like a blowout. So, I know the Golden State game didn't exactly blow out, but apparently, according to Ken, the Clippers Cavs props are up, but I'm on the web version and they're not. So maybe there's some kind of discrepancy there. What else we got here? Boom, 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 boom. Ruru says, I'll join the Patreon. Ruru, respect, brother. I would love to have you in our group. I think you would enjoy it. I think there's a lot of value that comes from our group. We got people winning hundreds and thousands of dollars playing all different sports, NBA, all these different esports that PrizePicks offers. So if you're into that sort of thing, there's a link down in the description of this video where you can go and join Patreon and sign up for PrizePicks if you haven't yet. Join the Discord. All of those things are available down in the link in the description below. Appreciate that, Ruru. I'll be looking out for you. Hopefully you make it in. Devontae Graham, 5.5 assists. Okay, let's look at it. Devontae Graham, Charlotte Hornets guard. Let's see if we've got his assist up here on props.cash. We don't have Devontae Graham. All right, things are, we're running into some little issues here in terms of finding some of these props. Do we have Devontae Graham up on PrizePicks? We do not. Well, there he is. Okay. There he is. Well, we can at least look at his game logs and kind of get an idea, right? So 5 assists against Philly, 6 against Chicago, 2 against Minnesota, and then 7 against Minnesota. So he's kind of been up and down in terms of covering this prop. He's 50%. 2 out of 4 he has covered this particular player prop. Not enough consistency for me to love this prop on Devontae Graham. So it's probably going to be a fave for me. Cole Anthony, over 4.5 assists. Well, I'm an Orlando Magic fan. I would be more than happy to look at Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony had a monster game the other night. Now, right now, he's sitting at 5 assists according to PrizePicks. So they've actually rounded him up. So there must be a lot of action coming in on Cole Anthony at 4.5 dimes. And I can understand why, because in 4 games so far, he's covered in 3 out of 4. That's a 75% hit rate. 75% hit rate at 4.5 assists. Now, we bumped this up to 5 assists. Things change a little bit. That last little bar, you saw it turn from green to gray. Now, gray would mean a push. So if you took the over on Cole Anthony, he landed on 5 assists, then you would still make money. You just wouldn't make as much over on PrizePicks. Pushes don't pay out quite as much. Now, at 4.5 assists, he's a minus 124 to go over. So that kind of gives you a little bit more of an idea of where the money's coming in on this Cole Anthony 4.5 assist prop. But of course, he's at 5. So I would still lean toward the over and hope that somehow he goes for 6 assists and it's not a push at 5. Last year versus Charlotte, He had 6 assists in the first game, 3 and 1. But, last year was last year. Whole different dynamic on this team. No more Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon, or Nikola Vucevic. And some of the other guys got shipped out as well. So let's look at the matchup. And the assists allowed by Charlotte, they are dead last, meaning they give up the most assists to the opposition in the entire NBA. So in terms of a plus matchup, when we're just focused on the assist category, this is a plus matchup here for Cole Anthony. So I definitely would lean toward the over. Hope he gets 6 assists, but can't be too mad if it's a push. At least you don't lose money. You know what I mean? What else we got, chat? I appreciate you guys tuning in. We are at 52 viewers. Man, I appreciate that. That's very humbling for me as a content creator on the rise, to have you guys in chat watching what we're putting down. So thank you so much. Drop a like if you haven't yet on this stream, and please share with whoever you know that might be into this sort of content. Looking to grow my channel. We're looking to hit 1,900 subscribers as quickly as we can. We hit 1,800 yesterday. Can we get it up to 1,900? I don't know. That would be a big goal. And we're trying to go for 100 of those likes. So those thumbs up that you drop on these videos, that's where we're shooting for today. Appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here. Remy says PrizePicks finally updated the late games. Usually it pops right up. I'll refresh though. I'm still not seeing them, guys. So if you're on the mobile app, maybe you're seeing something that I'm not seeing, or maybe you're talking fantasy points or something. Okay, so the fantasy points are all in there, but I'm not seeing any of the single stat player props for the later games. So maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm, different because I'm on a PC here. Colin Sexton under 21.5 points. James dropping another one for us to take a look at. Colin Sexton, is he up on the board? We didn't see Colin Sexton earlier, and I don't see him now. I really wish there was a way to filter these games out, or by position or something like that. But not seeing Colin Sexton at the moment, but we could still try and look for him here on props.cash. We will go to the Cleveland game. Cleveland, of course, taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. There's Colin Sexton, 21.5 points. Scroll up. 21.5 points has been a hard one for Colin Sexton to hit based on the 4 game logs we have for him thus far. So 17 points in the first game, drops 33 against Charlotte, but then just 12 and 14. So it has been a tough road for Colin Sexton in terms of scoring the basketball so far. Let's see why. Let's see why that is. Well, his minutes are all over the place. 29, 34, 27, 24. His minutes are starting to dip in his last 3 games. 3 games in a row where his numbers have regressed in terms of minutes. And we got field goal attempts, same kind of situation, kind of almost the same pattern as his minutes. They almost go hand in hand here if you look at these bar graphs and the way that they shape up. Obviously, the more minutes that he gets, the more opportunities he will have to shoot the basketball. And we know he's not shy about putting up shots. So it's really just a question of how many minutes will he get tonight. The minutes, again, are on the decline here for Colin Sexton. But looking at this defensive matchup here against the Clippers, I would say that the under is the way to keep going on Colin Sexton until he proves otherwise. But this is going to be a tough matchup for Colin Sexton. What else do we have, chat? Appreciate all the questions, all the submissions, everything that you guys are leaving in here. Hopefully this research is helping you out, making your decisions easier as you go to lock in entries. Jeffrey Sills, what's up, Jeff? Jeff, one of the Patreon members that is supporting the content and everything. He's part of our community over on Discord. Appreciate you dropping in, Jeff, and leaving that little nugget in there. He says he prefers Bam's 9.5 rebounds to go over. I think he's talking about in terms of Bam, I almost said Bam Margera, not Jackass. We're talking about Bam Adebayo. I think he's talking about Bam's points versus Bam's rebounds. He's liking Bam's rebounds a little bit more. So that's kind of an interesting little piece of info there. Devontae Graham over 5.5 assists. Cole Anthony over 4.5 assists. We've looked at those. Miles Bridges over 7.5 boards. We love a lot of Miles Bridges props today. We talked Miles Bridges points. I think we talked Miles Bridges rebounds. I want to say that we did. We could take a quick glimpse at it. 8 boards, 7 boards, 9 boards, 10 boards. Yeah, he's been boarding pretty well here, going over 7 with great ease, it looks like. He's got one push, obviously, against Cleveland. So I think Miles Bridges' rebounds definitely makes some sense. He's just been the kind of the key guy, the alpha, should we say, for the Charlotte Hornets. So Wiz versus Celtics under 227.5. Whew. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I don't really get into like betting money lines or totals or any of that stuff. I'd stick to the player props. I got to be real with you, keep it honest with you. Mostly player props in this stream, this type of content. Ken says, that's weird. The app is showing the late game props. Clippers and Cleveland up. Okay. Bam rebounds. Another Bam rebounds. Alan says he will be joining Monday. Man, that would be awesome, Alan. I would appreciate that support, man. That goes a long way to keeping me going. I think you're talking about joining Patreon, hopefully. And, if you want to find the link, it's down in the description. But, yeah, that goes a long way to keep me, out here doing what I'm able to do here for you on this live stream. So thank you so much, man. I really would love to see you in the community. Ethan Coffey says Butler over 19.5. Let's look at Jimmy Butler. I think we were looking for him earlier. Now he's at 20.5 here on PrizePicks. So they're taking the high road here. They're taking the larger number for Jimmy Butler. So let's go to Miami versus Brooklyn. And if you're wondering, if you're just popping in, never seen this stream before, well, this screen you're seeing on the left-hand side is props.cash. Props.cash. That's where we're doing this research. So he's at 20.5 on PrizePicks. We'll leave it there for our PrizePicks viewers out there. But 21 in the first game, 19 against Indiana, and 36 against a bad Orlando defense. So Jimmy Butler covering 2 out of his first 3 games, 67% cover rate. We could look at last year's matchup versus Brooklyn, not seeing anything in there in those game logs. But yeah, I don't know. Based on those first 2 games, 21-19 at 20.5 points, I don't know if I'm touching it. He did have an easy matchup against Orlando, but tonight's matchup against Brooklyn, it could be an easy one. But Brooklyn is a tough team when they kind of have motivation, and I think they'll be very motivated against this Miami Heat team. They will lock in, I think. So 22 overall, though, for Brooklyn in terms of defensive ranking, 21st in points allowed to the opposition, 20 in field goals allowed, 22nd in three-pointers allowed, and shooting guard defense, they rank just 25th. So a lot of green here. This is a soft matchup. So if you believe in matchups, you saw what he did to Orlando in a soft matchup, but I think Brooklyn's a lot better team than Orlando. Can we all agree on that? So there you go. At 19.5, I probably like that a little bit more. 20.5, it's a little dicey for me, a little dicey. Jared Allen, 22.5 points and rebounds over. So for you PrizePicks people out there, they don't offer a points and rebounds option. They don't combine any of their single stat player props, unfortunately. But for some of you other folks that play on other sites out there, they do offer that points and rebounds where they combine. So let's go ahead and look at that. Let's go find Jarrett Allen. We click on him, and do they offer, yep, there we go, PR, points and rebounds for Jarrett Allen. All right, so you could kind of get an idea that, through 4 games, he's covered this in 3 out of 4 games in terms of points and rebounds. So he's doing a great job so far, 29, 25, and 37. So you're saying that Jarrett Allen is out there at 22.5 points and rebounds? Yeah, this looks like a good place to go over. Didn't get it done against Charlotte, had just 15 points plus rebounds in that one. But overall, man, this dude's crushing it. 29, 25, and 37. I would definitely lean toward the over on Jarrett Allen. What else we got here? Gary Trent over 3 rebounds. Do we have Gary Trent up on the board? Let's see. A lot of these player props, like I mentioned earlier, not quite there yet on PrizePicks, especially the later ones. But we do have Gary Trent up, so we can look at him. Toronto Raptors, Gary Trent, no longer a Portland Trail Blazer. So we will take a look at Gary Trent's rebound prop. Well, I will say this. Things are trending in the right direction for Gary Trent's rebounds. Let's move him down to 3. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So climbing by 1 rebound in each game so far this season. Just first glance, in terms of hitting 3 or more rebounds, he's done it in 75% of the games so far. So, I mean, yeah, I mentioned before in yesterday's stream, I'll mention again, I don't like any player props that are rounded up or rounded down. So when you see the 0.5 on some of these props, like Sabonis, for instance, that's called the hook. The 0.5 is called the hook. I don't like playing props that have the hook rounded off or shaved off like this one, because that leads to a push in some situations, and I don't like to push. Give me a clear win or a clear loss. Don't give me a push. It's just a crappy feeling when a guy pushes. But anyway, in terms of rebounds allowed, this is a good matchup for Gary Trent and rebounds. 25th ranked Indiana against total rebounds allowed, 25th ranked. Offensive rebounds allowed, 30th ranked, and defensive rebounds, 21st ranked. So not a bad way to go on Gary Trent. Zach says refresh. Timberwolves and Bucks are up. Whoop. There they are. You read about that one. What else we got? Kelly Oubre, 16.5 points. Kelly Oubre at 16.5 points. Do we have him up on PrizePicks? We do. Against Orlando. Well, I've already talked about it. Orlando sucks. That's my favorite team, but it is what it is. They're not very good defensively. So, yeah, I think a lot of players versus Orlando tonight could make some sense, as long as the game doesn't blow out. Because those blowouts can be absolute killers when you're talking about taking overs on anybody. But Kelly Oubre so far, kind of a dicey game log. So, I mean, just at first glance here, 14 points, 25, 9, and 19. Like, he's 50% at covering this player prop through 4 games this season. Even against Orlando in a soft matchup, Kelly Oubre is probably your, third option maybe right now on Charlotte. It's definitely Miles Bridges at the moment, who's on an absolute heater. We talked about Miles Bridges. So you guys who are asking about your top plays, Brandon Ingram points, Brandon Ingram rebounds. I think Miles Bridges was another standout from today's video. His points, his rebounds stood out quite a bit. So those were probably like my stars of the video, stars of the stream. Maybe that's a thing we start doing, stars of the stream. It would be Brandon Ingram and it would be Miles Bridges from what I've seen so far. But I wouldn't go Kelly Oubre. It just feels wrong. It just feels dirty. Domantas Sabonis at 20.5 points. Let's look at Domantas Sabonis. Where is Debo? I don't think anyone actually calls him Debo. I don't know why I did, but yeah, he will take your chain. He is a baller. Let's go find him here. Indiana versus Toronto. Domantas Sabonis. He's not up for whatever reason. Can't find him on props.cash. Let's refresh. Let's refresh the old props.cash. We'll have to sign back in. Seems like everybody's a little slow today on getting these props in there for us. So let's go back. There he is. Boom. We're good now. Everybody's waking up. Everybody's getting their props loaded in. I love it, PrizePicks. I love it, props.cash. So we got Sabonis at 20.5 and at 20.5 points. He's covered in 3 out of 4 games so far. So 75% cover rate, averaging over 23 points per game in his last 5. So fantastic, fantastic. Looking good here for Sabonis. Last year against Toronto, struggled a little bit, 10 points, 11 points, but then 25 points back in May. So kind of gives you an idea how he stacked up against Toronto last season. Now, Toronto this season, not great defensively. Overall, they're just 15th, so middle of the pack defense, total team defense, but against the power forward position, which is where Sabonis plays, they rank 7th. So they are a tough team against opposing power forwards. So may not be the easiest matchup, but it's hard to root against Sabonis. Hard to root against Sabonis. You're either taking the over, or I think you're just going to probably fade it. That's how I would probably approach Domantas Sabonis. Kuzma rebounds. Yes, that was another standout of the stream. Another star of the stream was Kuzma rebounds. If you are just popping into the stream, Kuzma's rebounds have been off the charts. Dude's been crushing the glass. There we go. I got it. Yeah, Kuzma rebounds, another great play. Brandon Ingram over 23.5. Yes, Lewis, we talked about Brandon Ingram's points over 23.5. Great way to go. His rebounds at 5.5 boards. Great way to go. So, Trevor, hopefully that answers your questions about like top 3 favorite props. Look at Miles Bridges' points. He's been on fire. Look at Brandon Ingram's points. He's been on fire. Look at his rebounds. He's been on fire. Kyle Kuzma's rebounds. Stream chat. If I'm missing any plays, please let the folks know who are just getting in here what plays we've kind of talked about. That helps me out. Jeffrey says, Blake Griffin's points under 7.5. It's a tough matchup for him against one of the best defenders in the league. Okay. Let's go see what BG's all about. Mr. Blake Griffin. Is he up on the board? Yes, he is. He's at 7.5 points. So let's go back to that game, Miami versus Brooklyn. It's going to be one of those prime time, must-see TV type of games. So let's go Blake Griffin. And look at his first 3 games, guys. He's just not scoring the basketball much here for Brooklyn. He's not really a scorer in this role with the Nets. 6 points, 4 points, and finally 2 points against Washington. So not only is he not scoring a whole lot, but as Jeff pointed out, the matchup is a tough one against Miami. 8th overall in total defense, 5th overall in points allowed. Now, they are pretty soft against power forwards, but I'm not too worried about that. They're in the paint defense, 13th overall. Important to note that I believe Mr. Jeffrey Sills is a Miami Heat fan. I think. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. Maybe a little bias? Maybe he thinks Bam Adebayo is that dude who's going to shut Blake Griffin down. That's right, Zaddy. Thank you for reminding me. Now that Anthony Edwards is back up on the board for his 3-point props, I mentioned him earlier as one that is a 100% cover rate so far on this 2.5 3-point prop. So now that he's up, let's go take a look at it a little bit closer. I mentioned it earlier. If they were to add him to the board, he would definitely be one of my favorite plays so far. And you will see why here shortly. All right, so at 2.5 3-point makes, he had 6 against Houston, 3 against New Orleans, and then 4 against New Orleans. He's covered in every game so far this season, 100% cover rate. So things are looking good here for Ant Edwards. He's currently a minus 138 to go over 2.5 3-point makes. Last season against Milwaukee, gotta love this. 2 green bars, both matchups. He covered this prop of 2.5 3-point makes, hitting 3 and 5 respectively against the Milwaukee Bucks. So Ant Edwards over 3-point makes, looking like a good one. Let's go ahead and go down here against Milwaukee's defense. In terms of 3-pointers allowed per game, Milwaukee ranks dead last. What's not to love here, guys? What's not to love? And then if we look at Anthony Edwards, his minutes, we know he's playing a ton of minutes, 31, 37, 40. So his minutes are trending upward. That's great news for us. And then look at his 3-point attempts, 12, 8, 11. Dude has a ceiling of 12 3-point attempts so far this season and a floor of 8 3-point attempts this season. So somewhere between 8 and 12. All he's got to do is make 3. There you go. Anthony Edwards over 2.5 3-point makes. Arrington, what is happening, dude? Arrington, longtime member of the community, longtime member of the Patreon group. Appreciate you popping in. Thank you for all your support. Jaylen Brown over 38 fantasy points. Well, you know, we like to stick mostly to single stat player props, but for you, my friend, for you, I will. Let's go find Jaylen Brown. He's at 38 right now. We can open up his game logs real quick and take a look at those. Now, this October 4th game against Orlando, this was a preseason game, 39.3 though. He got it done. New York, he drops 70, almost 74 fantasy points. Now, that was a double overtime game against the Knicks to open up the season. Then he falls all the way down to 8.8 fantasy points. But then, like a meteor, goes all the way back up to 54 fantasy points. So that kind of gives you an idea of Jaylen Brown, kind of been mercurial, meaning up and down, up and down. Tonight, let's go look at his projection over here on Number Fire. We'll type in Jaylen Brown's name. And they've currently got him at 35 fantasy points on Number Fire. Now, Number Fire, for whatever reason, has always taken a more conservative approach, at least so far throughout the course of these few NBA streams that we've done. They've always kind of trended to be under on a lot of these single stat player props and fantasy points. But I don't know, man. Arrington, I think there's probably better plays like Anthony Edwards over 2.5 3-point makes, like Brandon Ingram over 23.5 points, like Miles Bridges over 19.5 points, like Brandon Ingram over 5.5 rebounds. I'm just throwing some heat out there. I hope you're picking it up. Philip, what's happening, man? Yo, me and Philip go back. We go back, y'all. We go back to 4th grade. 4th grade, elementary school days, man. Philip has been my dog for a long, long time. Nice to see you joining in, Phil. We got to get you joining on PrizePicks, bro. I've been trying to get you on PrizePicks for a minute now. Join. Use promo code Curry. 100% instant deposit match on your first $20, $50, $100, however much you want to put in. They're going to double you up. Appreciate you joining in, though, Phil. Jeff says, you know I'm all about that heat culture. I knew it. I thought I was right on that. Joe says, bounce back. Close game narrative for Harden. They keep him in, and he actually scores 21 or more points. You could be right. You could be right. I don't mind it. I never feel comfortable betting against a stud like James Harden. I never feel comfortable taking the under on him, and I won't. I'd rather fade him and just see what happens, but I am Bino Cartel. He says, yeah, I'm with the points from now on. I got you. Late game is in if you refresh, according to Zach. Let's refresh the PrizePicks board. Oh, yeah. Okay. We're in there. Perfect. You're getting more of these props in there. CJ McCollum's 3-point makes was another one that stood out to me. If he's at 3.5 on PrizePicks or below, I'm taking the over. Boom. We could open up his game logs real quick. He is at 3.5. Here's why I would take the over. If you go back to October 15th against Golden State, 4 makes, 6, 6, and 4. So he's covered in every game so far this season. We could get a little bit of a closer look here at the CJ McCollum prop. So you guys are looking for the good props, right? You're looking for the heat, right? Drop a like if you're liking these picks. I'm dropping the heat for you. You got to go lock them in, though, because these numbers will not stay. They're going to bump CJ McCollum up to 4 3-pointers. Mark my words. I'm just calling it. I'm calling my shot. They're gonna round this thing up to 4 3-pointers when it's all said and done. So 6 against Sacramento, 6 against Phoenix, and 4 against the Clippers. So he's covered in 3 straight games and covered by quite a bit other than this Clippers game. Barely covered that one, but you get the point. 6, 6, 4. We scroll down here. The 3 points allowed by the Memphis defense, they rank 18th. Not a tough matchup whatsoever here for CJ McCollum. Got to go back to it. Got to keep riding the hot hand and take the over on CJ McCollum for me. That's what I'm doing. Duncan Robinson, points under. Come on now. You're just being biased, man. You Heat fan, you. You Heat fan, you. 12.5 points for Duncan Robinson. All right, let's go over to Duncan Robinson here on props.cash. Let's go find D-Rob. It would be helpful if I had the Miami-Brooklyn game loaded up. There he is, 12.5 points. Yeah, I mean, 8 points, 14 points, and 10 points, only covering 1 out of 3, 33% against Brooklyn last year. Only covered 1 out of 3, 33%, averaged just 12 points per game. Now 12's pretty close to 12.5, but a lot of that average of 12 points came from that one big game of 18. So yeah, you could definitely go under on some Duncan Robinson. The guy is a absolute sniper though. So keep that in mind. He's going to have to make 5 3-pointers in order to go over. And that's mostly what he does is shoot threes. The matchup's looking good here too. I mean, it's green light go here for Duncan Robinson. Brooklyn ranks 22nd against the 3-pointer. So Duncan Robinson could definitely knock down some trays in this one, but appreciate you, Said. New sub in the house, Said. I love it, man. Thanks for subbing. I appreciate that. We're trying to get as many subs as humanly possible here. 1,900 would be amazing if we could get that today. I know it's a lofty goal, but man, I appreciate you subbing, Said. We're going to try and do these for you every single day. Day 2 here. Let's effing go. Let's go, Damon. Hey, chat's kind of slowing down. If you guys don't have any more picks or plays, I'll get out of here so I could go lock in some of these entries on PrizePicks. But let's go ahead and go for, we'll call it 12:30 Eastern time. That's my time. 15 more minutes, and then we'll cut this thing off. I've already been on here for over an hour. Unbelievable. But you guys are showing out, showing support, dropping these picks and plays, and I don't mind helping you out as long as you're in here doing that. All the likes, all the subs that you guys are giving me, all the sharing of this video. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your uncle, your aunt, your mama, your daddy, whoever you got. Steven Adams assist. Yeah, we looked at Steven Adams assist on props.cash. High hit rate so far. And wow, they actually do have him up on the board. I'm surprised they put that one up. Let's go take a look at Steven Adams. My nickname for this guy is Smash Adams. I don't know why. It just seems appropriate. The style of play that he has seems fitting. So we got everything set up here for Steven Adams at 2.5 assists, a 100% hit rate so far. Do I like taking centers like Steven Adams over on a prop, like an assist prop? No, I'd rather take him over on like rebounds or something like that. But you know, you can't ignore the noise here. 3, 5, and 6. His assists are trending upwards. He's covered 8 games. So yeah, you could do it. J Red, Patreon member. Yes, sir. Appreciate you dropping in, J Red. And then in terms of assists allowed, Portland 16th ranked, middle of the pack average, you know, in terms of assists allowed. So that gives you an idea on Steven Adams. He's been hitting this prop though. So you gotta love the 100% hit rate. He says, "You're getting 2K. Boy, I hope I get 2K." We ain't talking about NBA 2K. I mean, we're talking about NBA, but we're also talking about 2K, 2,000 subs. So I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. I hope we get to 2K soon. That would be amazing. I just started doing all this stuff back on January of this year, January 1st. So to hit 2,000 in less than a year would be fantastic. Would be awesome. Ja over 26.5 points. Yeah, we talked some Ja. We like Ja Morant quite a bit, Zaddy. You've been in here since the start of the stream, so. Miles Turner under. Miles Turner under what, Zach? You got to be more specific. You're talking rebounds, points, something else. Kyle Lowry under 14.5 points. Yep, we mentioned that one already, Arrington, earlier in the stream. We like Kyle Lowry under 14.5 points. The minutes just haven't been there. Yeah, he's not shooting very well. Terrible from beyond the arc. You know who we should ask about Kyle Lowry is Jeff. Jeff probably knows something about Kyle Lowry. Kuzma over rebounds. We mentioned Kuzma over rebounds already. Hamza, definitely one that we're loving. The trend on Kyle Kuzma and his boards are just, I mean, it's just off the charts. If you go back, we're just going to click his game logs here on PrizePicks. Dude's been smashing the 7.5 rebound prop. 13, 11, and 15. Got to keep going back to it, right? Hey, man, appreciate that, Dell. Dell, if you know anybody who plays PrizePicks or is into daily fantasy sports or who's into just basketball talk in general, basketball head like me, tell them to sub, man. And we're going to do NFL ones, too. I've already done an NFL stream. I did one on Sunday before kickoff. If you guys want to see an NFL stream, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. I'll do some NFL streams, too. I've already done one. I'll keep doing those. Going back up to Lewis. Lewis says Collins over rebounds. John Collins. Are we talking Johnny? Atlanta Hawks. Let's find him. God, I wish they made this a little easier to find these props. John Collins, 8.5 boards. Let's look at it. We could pop his game logs open real quick. Give you a look on PrizePicks. We'll shift this over to Atlanta versus New Orleans. Move the category to total rebounds on JC. Click rebounds here at the top. Props.cash, by the way, is the site that we're using here on the left-hand side to do all of our research here. It's just $20 a month, man. It saves you a lot of time, a lot of work. Pretty much everything you want or could possibly need is baked into one site, one source. So, all right, John Collins at 8.5 boards, 9 in the first one against Dallas, 12 against Cleveland. Falls short against Detroit with just 7 boards. So that was the only under. No previous matchups against New Orleans to look at from last season for John Collins. But overall, you can see in his last 5 games, 9.4 rebounds. 9.4 rebounds. Now, worth noting, New Orleans pretty tough against opposing teams in terms of rebounds, ranking 3rd. So they're stingy. They ain't giving up the rock. They ain't letting the other team touch the basketball a whole lot. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot better plays that we've identified in this stream so far than John Collins rebounds. Jonas Valanciunas, 12.5 boards. We got about 10 more minutes on stream, guys, then I'm getting up out of here. I got to get some lunch. You guys have worked me into an appetite here, so I'm going to go grab some lunch after this. But appreciate you guys dropping all of these questions, these props in here. Appreciate all the love that you guys have shown so far. Let's look up Joe Val, though, while we got the New Orleans Pelicans pulled up. 12.5 rebounds was the question. It's been a little dicey so far this season through 4 games for Jonas Valanciunas and this rebound prop. Came really close here with 12 boards against Philly, but close doesn't cut it. He did not go over. He went under. And then 8 against Chicago. But then looking at the last 2 games, 17 and 23, smashed it. You're right. He has been smashing, Jeff. Just hasn't been smashing enough for my taste. I wish this was a little bit higher. You know, if this would have been 13 boards, I would have been like, woo, let's fire it up. But I'm a little like, little leery. And then 2 games versus Atlanta last year, 12 and 11. We've talked about it earlier in the stream. Hawks, very formidable in terms of their big guys. Obviously, Clint Capella, John Collins, not to be taken lightly whatsoever. In terms of total rebounds allowed, they rank 8th in the league, do the Atlanta Hawks. So again, could you go there? You could. Are there better plays? I think there are. And I think we've talked plenty about those so far. Domo 2 Cole 773. Malcolm Brogdon 21.5 points. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Malcolm Brogdon, 21.5 points. I hope you guys are at home with your pen and your pad, or maybe you're just locking entries in as we go through them. But you guys got to get these things locked in. Do not procrastinate. Do not wait. These numbers will change. If you're not locking them in, I guarantee you someone watching this stream is locking them in. And when more and more money comes in on these props that we're really, really liking, guess what? The number is going to move up. Which is why it's important you tune into the streams, which is why it's important you have notifications turned on and that you lock in these entries, if you love them, as quickly and as soon as you can, because they're going to move. They're going to move on you. Got to throw that out there and remind you guys, don't procrastinate. Don't play around when it comes to these player props, because PrizePicks is on their they're on their game, guys. They will move these lines on you without notice, and you will be sad that you did not get Brandon Ingram at 5.5 rebounds, or Anthony Edwards at 2.5 3-point makes. You'll be sad when it's bumped up to 3 or 3.5. When CJ McCollum's 3-point makes go up to 4 instead of 3.5, you'll be sad. I'm just telling you. I don't want you to be sad. All right, Malcolm Brogdon at 21 points, covered in 3 out of 4 games, 75% hit rate. Dude's been balling. 28 points, 25 points in the 3 games that he did hit. 24.6 points per game in his last 5. Going back to last year against Toronto, 2 matchups, 12 against Toronto, 36 against Toronto. So just a 50% hit rate, but that was last year. Whole different year, whole different season, whole different situation for both the Pacers and the Raptors. So we scroll down here, look at the matchup against Toronto. Overall defensive rating, Toronto ranks 15th in points allowed. They do rank 2nd in field goals allowed, but terrible against the 3 ball, and shooting guard defense is just what they classify Brogdon as a shooting guard, just 14th. So there you go for Malcolm Brogdon, playing plenty of minutes, guys. 40, 44, 41, 37. He's getting like around 40 minutes per game on average. Yeah, if he's in there for that long, I'm taking overs on him. And his field goal attempts, 20, 22, 19, 21. So he's getting 20 plus field goal attempts per game. So I think we keep riding the hot hand on Malcolm Brogdon here. And keep riding this hot streak. He had 1 bad game against a tough Miami team. So I like that Brogdon one, man. Shout out to you, Domo2 Cole, for dropping that in chat. I think some people will definitely take you up on that prop. Dell says he's got me. That means a lot, brother. Thank you. Thank you. John Collins, 8.5 rebounds. We talked about John Collins, 8.5 rebounds. Didn't love it. Juan, what is the play tonight? Brother, we got a lot of plays tonight. A lot of them are standing out. We love us some Brandon Ingram over points. We love us some Brandon Ingram over rebounds. We love us some Miles Bridges over points. He's been hot. We love us some Kyle Kuzma over rebounds. We love us some Anthony Edwards over 3-point makes. We love us some CJ McCollum over 3-point makes. If I'm missing anything, y'all let this man know. Help him out. Help a friend out. And help me out. Likes, subs, sharing, all of that, If you want to join Patreon, you can. If you want to, drop any sort of little gift here or there, we got super chats available. You can do that too through this YouTube live stream. Thursday night football. Mabel's in. I'm in too, buddy. We'll do some Thursday night football. I'll do an NFL stream tomorrow for you guys. How about that? Maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll hit you with an NBA stream early on, come back on after a couple hour break, and then we'll do some NFL talk. We could do that. Yeah, we're liking that Anthony Edwards over 2.5 3-point makes. We're liking that Miles Bridges over 19.5 points. A few more minutes, guys. I'm going to jump off of here at 12:30. I don't know about you guys, but all this prop talk's got me hungry. I'm a big boy. Got to eat. Does Ja go over his points tonight? He's been MVP mode. Ja, I don't want to take any unders on Ja Morant, if that tells you anything. I don't feel comfortable taking unders on Ja Morant. I could tell you that. I'm not going under, that's for sure. Got a couple more minutes, guys. Any last minute submissions, leave them right now and I will knock them out for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for everybody who has tuned in, who's been a part of the stream today, who's been active in chat. Again, links to everything. If you want to sign up for PrizePicks and you haven't yet, 100% instant deposit match, promo code Curry, great opportunity to get double your money on your first deposit, all the way up to $100. So you put in 100, they're going to match it, giving you $200 to get you started through the rest of the NFL season, the NBA season, and NHL just started if you're into hockey. If you want to sign up for props.cash, you can do that as well. There's a link down in the description for that as well. $19.99 a month for an NBA pass. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. If you like the tools, that's where you got to go to get them. And of course, we've got a Patreon group where we're all sharing picks, plays, talking strategy for NFL, NBA, all the things. Your donation, your support of $20 a month helps me to continue to do these types of things for you and everybody else who joins in and watches. Michael Bridges over 1.5 threes. Let's see if he's up here on PrizePicks. We were looking for some Suns props earlier. Chris Paul was another one that we talked about at 9.5 assists. He's covered in every single game so far. We don't have Michael Bridges up, unfortunately, on PrizePicks. But those kind of guys, Michael Bridges, the Robert Covingtons of the world, the Andrew Wiggins, yeah, I guess on any given night, Jay Crowder's another guy. They could hit 2 threes, but are they going to get the volume that we like to see? Are they going to be like a Paul George or a CJ McCollum and attempt a ton of threes? Not usually. So they have to be highly efficient in hitting their props. Those are ones I like to stay away from. So a couple more minutes, guys, and I'm going to get out of here. See what else you guys are dropping in. Travis, you are welcome. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of what we're doing here. Bam over 9.5 rebounds. Yes, it was mentioned earlier. Somebody liked Bam Adebayo over 9.5 rebounds. Harrison Barnes points, 16.5. All right, we'll make that one the last one. I don't see Harrison Barnes. We'll make this one the last one, and then we will get you out of here. Go about your way and about your day and go lock in some of these player props that we've discussed on stream. So Harrison Barnes, 16.5 points. Ooh, okay. You might have just dropped a last-minute buzzer-beating gem on us. Against Portland, 36 points, 25 against Utah, 24 against Golden State. Dude has been crushing this 16.5 point player prop. Yeah, so far things are looking good here for Harrison Barnes. Now against Phoenix last year, not so good. It is a sea of red, 11 points, 10 points, 14 points. So he struggled against the Suns in 3 games last year. That is tonight's opponent, the Phoenix Suns. But to start this season out against Portland, Utah, and Golden State, he's just been smashing 16.5 points. Tough defensive matchup, though, against Phoenix. They ranked 9th overall, 7th against points, 7th against three-pointers allowed, 11th against field goal attempts. So he's been crushing, but man, this is a tough one, guys. This is a tough one. Probably going to be a fade for me. We'll see if he can get it done, though, against Phoenix. I will definitely be watching closely. All right, Arrington, we will catch you in the Discord. Appreciate it. Mabel, peace out, guys. Thank you so much for joining the stream. And until the next time, good luck tonight over on PrizePicks. Peace out.